No matter where you go, there's one bird sound that everyone will easily be able to recognize, and that is the sound of the black, white, and red birds called woodpeckers. They might sound the same, but these birds have 180 different species. But that's not the only shocking fact you'll learn about woodpeckers in this video. There are a lot more, and we'll be discussing a lot of them today, so stay tuned until the end of the video. But before we start, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. They nest inside trees. We all know one thing about woodpeckers: they peck at trees for food, but that's not their only reason for the pecking. They also use their strong beaks to bore out nest-sized holes inside tree trunks. Most birds nest outside trees, but woodpeckers are quite the opposite. They make a hole inside the tree, and once it's ready, females lay their eggs inside the hole. Baby woodpeckers also spend the first few weeks of their lives in the safety of these holes. They have super long tongues. Woodpeckers are known to have long bills that they use to peck wood, but interestingly enough, their tongues are longer than their bills. In fact, they are twice the length of their bills. Because of that, woodpeckers can reach for insects inside the holes they peck out. And here's an even more interesting fact. When their long tongues aren't in use, the tongue curls around the back of the head between their skull and their skin. And not just that, their tongues are also sticky. Some woodpecker species have barbed tongues, and some have sticky saliva, which helps them easily pull out insects that they find in holes. They also love nuts and berries. Insects aren't the only thing that these peckers like to consume. They also like eating berries and nuts. That's actually the reason you might find them on your nut feeders. Some of these birds like to eat acorns so much that they store them for winter. In fact, some red-headed woodpeckers might even seal up their storage with wet splinters that dry out to make sure they have a safe and tight cover. That's not all. Some people have even seen red-headed woodpeckers try to completely fill a house attic with acorns. They can be difficult to get rid of. Generally speaking, people love woodpeckers. These colorful birds with tufted heads are interesting to look at and amazing to have around, but they can also be pretty annoying. Like I mentioned, you might find them on your nut feeders, but not just that, they can also make a home for themselves in your home, and they can be pretty hard to get rid of once they make a home in a house, a fence, a barn, or a power pole. This especially happens in the case when they have lost their habitat in the forest and nowhere else to live and raise their young. They like to make music. The animal world is huge and vast, and a lot of them have similar characteristics. However, there is one characteristic that only woodpeckers have. They're the only creatures all around the animal world that make a sound with something other than a part of their body. In fact, they're known to make some really rhythmic tunes when they tap on tree trunks or other objects with their bills to produce what's called drumming. They drum on objects for a number of reasons, like communicating their territory to other birds, attracting mates, or locating food. Their brains are specially protected. A pretty interesting fact about woodpeckers is regarding their skulls and brains, in particular the way they are built. As we already know, woodpeckers spend a lot of their time furiously tapping and hitting wood, so to ensure their brains don't get injured, they need a special mechanism, and they do. Their brains are protected by a very thick and strong skull. They don't get headaches. Imagine if us humans hit our heads against a tree. That would hurt really bad, wouldn't it? I mean, we might have a headache for days to come, so how come woodpeckers can so easily hit their heads against trees? Well, that's because of their thick skulls that I previously mentioned. Their bills help them distribute shock throughout the thick skull when they are pecking, thus preventing their heads from hurting. Because of that, these thick skulls prevent them from getting concussions, headaches, or even permanent brain damage. This is such an interesting phenomenon that scientists are currently studying just how woodpeckers achieve this. In fact, if the answer is found and can be replicated, it might even help protect the brains of us humans. They are quite the perfectionists. Like I mentioned, woodpeckers peck out holes inside tree trunks for them to live in. Well, here's an interesting fact about these pecked holes. When they peck out a hole, most woodpeckers ensure that the entrance to the hole is a perfect circle. And yes, when I say perfect, trust me, I'm definitely not exaggerating. On the other hand, pileated woodpeckers make a pest hole that is in perfect oval or oblong shape, but either way they make no error in the shape. They change their holes every year. After spending so much effort on creating the perfect holes, you might think they spend their whole life there. Well, that's not the case. A woodpecker only lives in one hole each year, and then they move on to peck another hole for themselves to last one more year, and often their previous holes are used by other birds. They have furry noses. Here's something you probably did not expect. These woodpeckers actually have furry noses. Their nostrils are entirely covered in feathers, which helps keep splinters and dust out when they peck on wood. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, press the bell icon so you never miss out on future uploads. And I'll see you next time. Till then, peace out and have a great day.